While when fewer than 100 people protested back in 1990, it would give birth to what we know today as Johannesburg Pride. But even in that moment, when those residents essentially came together in defiance, they were calling for equality, for community. And that is exactly what is at the heart of today's gathering. It's very different from where we were back in Sandton. There's no live stages here, no big music and corporates, but still a community coming together, wanting to be seen, wanting to spend time together. And I'm really going to bring in some of the organizers to talk to us about the difference about today, but also the similarities in the sense that this is still one big family gathering, right? Bev, thank you so much for your time. Tell us a little bit about the decision to host this Pride event here at Zulek.
Thank you so much for inviting us to have this conversation. This is not an event. It is not an official event. It is rather a moment where many of us wanted to spend time together and commemorate and celebrate Pride without having to go to a big corporate-sponsored event. And that's it. We just wanted to gather with each other in a really calm environment and just share and just, share joy with each other, and that's it.
Some of the big things that I got when we were speaking to some that have gathered here was really that they're just looking for a community to belong. Nothing flashy, nothing fancy, but simply to connect. Talk to me a little bit about the deliberate stance to say, this is how we commemorate.
I think that, we should be able to celebrate in all our different spaces and all our diversity, wherever we want to celebrate, I think there shouldn't just be one space, because then that means there is an ownership of Pride, and there isn't. Pride belongs to all of us. This is very much reminiscent of that first Pride March, where we got together and said, enough with being shamed, enough with being told where to be and be in boxes, and we just wanted to be in a space where we can be together freely and enjoy ourselves freely. And so that's what this space is for us.
I'm going to bring Tebogo in here a little bit. One of the big things that we got from another organization that boycotted the Pride March back in Sandton was that there's a need to go back to the drawing board, to go back to what advocacy really looks like right now, what a community and protest and activism looks like right now. What would you say to that?
I think what's important before we take any action is to listen. And I think that's what our organizations strive to do, is say, what does the community need? What is it looking for? I think we've all noticed that there's a lot of trauma in South Africa in general, and this is a traumatic time globally. And where are the spaces for healing, for community, for gathering? And I think that's what a lot of the protest really comes down to. Outside of talking about corporates, outside of talking about divisions and factions, let's talk about community.
And that I'm very glad you also brought in the state of our country right now. We know that South Africa enjoys one of the best constitutions. And this is reflective of whether it is Pride at Zulek or Pride in Sandton. What more do we need for our queer community?
I think changes to lived experience. It's beautiful to have moments like this, but they're just moments. How do we actually change the real day-to-day lives of our people? There was a Pride shelter in Cape Town that nearly shut down. And it was the only one really that's Pride, LGBTQ+ dedicated. How did it get to a point where it could have nearly been shut down? Where were we with our pink rand? And it just shows that we're not communicating well enough. We're not mobilizing and galvanizing well enough. And that's where the change really lies.
Thank you so much both for that reflection. I think an honest reflection as well to look at the queer community now that we are celebrating Pride. What more needs to be done in terms of mobilizing, coming together as a community before, of course, being able to go out into the world, into South Africa to say, here we are, we exist, we are proud, and we are loud. Well, we are going to enjoy the festivities here back at Zulek, a little bit calmer, definitely. But for Newzroom Afrika on Channel 405, I'm Veronica Mahwadi in Johannesburg.